spectacular performance. Curry from half court. And sometimes, some of it looks like it's been there a while.
We're here, all of us, the three amigos. We're going to be picking up where we left off last episode, where we called it the Cope episode number 1. This is going to be Cope episode number 1.5.
Why is that 1.5?
I got Cope out. I got all the Cope out. We're good.
I have half Cope
because
because
the Warriors are doing great. Why is it a Cope episode?
for future champs, we're doing real great.
Yeah.
We got half Cope this episode. There's some good news. There's some bad. What do you guys think? Should we start with the good or should we start with the bad? You want the good?
I think we should start off with the bad because the bad's pretty major.
Start with the bad. It shows a lot about a person's psychology. What would you like to start with?
The good.
I'd like to start with the bad as well. So 2/3 vote. We're gonna be starting with the bad. I think. So the games that we're gonna be overviewing. The last time we recorded our episode was when we had a very painful, a very very what's the word I'm trying to look for? Thomas, can you help me out? No, like a fancier way to say like kind of thing that's stretched out painfully.
Like disappointing, miserable.
That's really lame. I was expecting a cooler word, but yeah, a disappointing game against the Thunder where we lost in overtime. They own us officially for the season. Shea is our daddy. Chet is also our daddy.
Honestly, Shea is like, I guess maybe their daddy, but like Chet is the actual one.
Chet is just like,
I never want to see him on a court against the Warriors again.
My rookie of the year so far. Victor's got all the high.
He really is. Yeah.
Victor's like the second coming of LeBron James. So
I mean, yeah, and I think at this point, even the general NBA community agrees that as much hype as Wemby got, if he's changing right now, the rookie.
Is Chet a rookie? No, obviously not. He had a year of NBA professional training regimen. So he's not really a rookie, but according to the dumb rules of the NBA, he is a rookie. Oh, we also have some. Oh wait, did we talk about the in-season tournament last episode? We did. The Lakers put their banner down. Shout out, Lakers community.
Loud and proud.
Loud and proud, baby. You love to see it. So the games are gonna be highlighted today: Warriors versus Suns, Warriors versus Clippers, the Nets versus the Warriors, and the Warriors versus the Trailblazers. So we're starting with the bad news. So in the last 4 games, we played against 2 actual tough opponents.
OKC as well, right?
That's their playoff team this year, by the way, so far.
Yeah, but again, we're contenders, right? So we're supposed to we should be comfortably.
The Clippers are like the same record. What would it?
But some would say that the Clippers are on paper. They're figuring things out.
Yeah, they won like 7 straight games.
They're popping. They're the hottest team in the NBA
right now. And they're, of course, better than the Nets. Like, let's not cope.
Yeah.
They definitely are. Thank you, Wes, for have someone be rational here.
But Paul George wasn't playing. Just FYI, it was
not only to top it off. Paul George was not playing. So that's one of the bad news. But luckily, we beat the lottery team Trailblazers. Barely too, by the way. Towards the end of the 4th quarter.
Yeah, that was impressive how we almost took that away.
Impressive. It was like fumbling the bag to the max. We also did beat the Nets. I had a final at that time, so you guys will have to fill in for that. But
I was driving from 2 undisclosed locations. The drive that takes about like 10 hours.
Tuesday?
Yeah. No, it was
on Saturday.
No, against the
Nets. That was on Tuesday.
No.
Blazers was last night.
Oh, apologies, ladies and gentlemen.
Guys, if you've ever been in a situation where somebody just denies reality, it's sometimes tough to figure out a response because what are you even supposed to say?
There's a saying for that. They're in an old Pakistani village. There was a man. He actually knew English. He was he came from America. He came from England, and he knew English. And he went to a village where no one knew English, and there was a guy who claimed to know English. But since no one knew English in the entire village, the guy who didn't know English would just make up and so go blah, 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 and then the whole village would be very impressed. So why does that relate to this? Because to the point that if one guy doesn't know anything and then the other guy does actually, if it's just 2 of them, no one actually knows who's right. That was my stretched out way of saying that. Anyways, so back to the basketball. We're talking about the Warriors and the Suns. That's the first game.
Okay. Let's do it.
Draymond suspended for punching Nurkic. That's gotta talk about that.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
that's
got to be the first topic.
So I have a rant on that. So you know what? I'll control myself. Wes, you give your opinion and take on this first, please.
I mean, I think a lot of people are like, I think this event in itself is inexcusable, but to bring up like other instances where he's done like dirty plays, like stepping on Sabonis, I don't think was exaggerated, but
Really just.
Sabonis like grabbed his leg, kicking Steven Adams like years ago, I guess, but that's like there's like 7 years between these events, so it's not like it's I don't know. He is very like aggressive sometimes. I'm not gonna lie, but this is kind of like an outlier, I think, in terms of how dirty it was. But it's inexcusable, even from a Warriors fan, I think. But it's
Thomas, sorry, I can't control myself. I'm just gonna start my rant. I think Draymond Green has a mental issue. The problem is it's not he is generally not in the wrong. He's generally not the one in the wrong. He really isn't. For the chokehold on Gobert, he wasn't necessarily in the wrong. There's an unwritten rule in the NBA where you're not supposed to, get involved into a fight when two guys are kind of
it's that you're supposed to grab your own guy and pull him away. You're not supposed to grab the opponent's player and pull him away.
You grab Clay.
Gobert did. But the problem is he is extra. He's extra. You are extra, brother. You are a 33-year-old man. Get it together. You're not a child. You're not in high school. You're not immature. What is wrong with you, brother? We need you to play. This is not 2017, 2018, 2019, where we're cruising. We got depth. We got the boys. They're hooping. If one guy's not here, the other guy's gonna pull up. We need every guy to play. What are you doing? What are you doing, dude? You wanted to take Gobert out of the scuffle? Why are you putting him in a chokehold? What are you doing? What are you doing, dude? You want to flop? Which it was a flop. What Nurkic did. It was a flop. You can't change my mind on that. Why are you flailing your arms? Like, what are you doing, dude? What are you doing? Honestly, the suspension is rightfully deserved. He needs these classes. He needs to have some dude. Kerr needs to sit down and be like, brother, get it together. Get it together. What is wrong with you? Draymond Green is my second favorite player of all time. He is a soul of the Warriors. Without him, we're nothing. We really are. We have more losses. The record without him is a negative record. Negative in the regard that we have more losses than wins. But what are you doing? And to a certain point, obviously when he punched JP, it was cope. It was really cope. Like, oh man, JP deserved it. But I mean, in actuality, in reality, we had just won the chip, so it was like, man, Draymond, man. But he should not have punched it. No matter how you slice it or dice it, he was JP's mentor, quote unquote. That was kind of the media depiction of their relationship before the punch. Yeah, as Richard Jefferson, a lot of the veterans, and a lot of old heads in the NBA community were saying, who leaked the footage? That's a bigger problem, because that was a common occurrence back in the day, apparently. But it doesn't justify doing that. You ruin a whole team's chemistry.
You did. We were screwed up. With largely the same roster, we were terrible on the road and terrible defense compared to the previous years. So yeah, absolutely.
And I could just keep on going on, but I guess to summarize it, he's extra. He needs to mature. He needs to grow up. You're 33 years old, dude. You act all professional on your podcast, and this. You're trying to pursue a professional analysis commentating career. You can't be a clown on court. You cannot be a clown on court. You have kids. You're a married man, dude. And he deserved a suspension. Thank God he has some sort of anger management classes or whatever. They're gonna be pointless because they're just gonna be like, oh, repeat this 5 times. He's gonna be like, I will not punch people for no reason. But embarrassing, and it's cope. Anyone who's saying, oh, it's cope, and that's a foreshadowing to someone who's about to cope.
I think you learned that word like 2 weeks ago, because I never heard you use it before, and all of a sudden it's like the number one word.
Actually, that is true. Literally, I was literally over the summer, someone was using it. I was like, man, this is such a great word. It's like when cringe came out in 2016 when we were in 8th grade. It's just such a great word. Like everyone was saying it because it just depicts a
Anything
situation.
can be used to describe anything, even very rational, intelligent observations made by a certain co-host that you don't want to accept, that you want to just dismiss without actually addressing them.
Scope. Go ahead.
No, I mean, here's the thing. Every incident that Draymond has ever gotten into, with the exception of maybe the Steven Adams kick, has not actually been initiated by him. He has, I think, his real tendency is to overreact physically to minor annoyances or aggression on the part of other players when he's on the court, which is, of course, like a problem. But again, it's also part of who he is. The fact that he lets other players get into his head, I think, has at many times driven him to play with a competitive fire that's unmatched by most people in the history of the NBA. And I would also like to point out that so legendary a figure as Kevin Garnett on his podcast said that he actually sympathizes with Draymond in the situation because he understands how frustrating it can be to play with a guy like Nurkic, who is constantly elbowing you and nudging you and bumping you on screens and doing all these little things to get under your head. And while even KG said, and this is obviously true, that Draymond's reaction was over the top, he sympathized with him. And that's what a lot of other players have even come out and said, and coaches have come out and said. No, even when the actual NBA community, because the media is a totally different beast. The media thinks that Draymond pulled out a knife on the court and tried to kill Nurkic. But when you listen to what people in the actual NBA community, people who have played or coached, are saying, there's no, massive condemnation of Draymond. There's no assertion that he's some psychotic killer who's out to kill on the court. There's just a general acceptance that the guy overreacts. It's who he is. Now, the suspension, 100% deserved. Obviously, the NBA can't have people doing that on the court. The reaction from the media, the way that people discuss this situation, like Draymond is like a diagnosed like sociopath or something, or the idea that he has some kind of mental issue, like he's mentally ill because he flails his arms around sometimes when he's on a basketball court. I mean, give me a fucking break. It's so stupid I almost can't even address it. How in the world does a guy overreacting physically? I mean, have you ever, people like this exist in the world, and the real world too. People who get into fights sometimes. It's called like minor anger issues, and that's obviously what he has. Either he has some kind of like overarching like mental illness or something that's causing this, or he needs therapy or needs help. He's gonna get quote unquote cured of something. It's one of the most absurd media narratives I can remember in recent NBA history. I think the way people need to listen to themselves talk and stop taking, again, what is like a minor contact, by the way, in this case, minor contact that was exaggerated and flopped. Stop taking it as though he tried to kill him on the court, or at least stop talking about it like that, because that's the way people are discussing it.
I mean, to be honest, I do agree.
He did not deserve the suspension. I would never say that because he does.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I definitely agree with a lot of what you said. Like, this incident with Nurkic was not like unprovoked. Like, Nurkic was fouling him. Like, if you show the replay, he's like kind of grabbing under his arm and all that. So it was not just like he like ran down the court and then unprovoked just like smacked Nurkic in the face. But I think he has to realize, like, we weren't doing that well before he got suspended, and then he just like you have to know that you're gonna get suspended if you like wind up and like hit him in the face like that. And I don't know, it's just kind of frustrating because he's supposed to be our oldest guy, or one of our older guys. It's supposed to take charge and like lead the team to wins, because especially since he's one of the starters that's actually playing well outside of Steph, and then he's the one starter that goes out. So it's, I mean, and luckily recently Wiggins and Clay are playing better than they have been, but it's just irresponsible, I think, at that point to like do something like that. And also, it's not really, to be honest, it is kind of over exaggerated in the media how bad it was. I think like recently dirty plays that like Dylan Brooks hitting GB2 going up for that layup in the 22 playoffs, that was way dirtier, I think, and that resulted in like a serious elbow injury. That could have been like a broken arm if he landed like a little differently than he actually did. So I think
Hitch himself.
Yeah.
I hate to even acknowledge it because it was on LeBron. I hate to even acknowledge it. In fact, I kind of regret even starting this because LeBron obviously deserved it. But the play that he famously had on LeBron, that foul towards the basket, that was one of the dirtiest plays I've ever seen. That was like, I mean, again, props to him if he was, but like, are you trying to injure the guy? Because that's the only reason you could justify doing what he did on that play.
I mean, hitting
or
someone midair, like
going up-
mid jump, is like way more dangerous than anything that Draymond could really. I mean, obviously hitting someone in the head is like, I don't know, that could probably give him a concussion if he hits him in the right spot with the right force, I guess. But it didn't really seem like he's, I don't know, like going for a punch. It's kind of this. It's an irresponsible swing of the hand, you know. So,
dude, Meta World Peace intentionally elbowed a guy, full contact elbowed a guy in the side of the head.
Harden.
yeah,
Do people talk about Meta World Peace like he has some undiagnosed mental illness?
Yes.
kind of. Yeah, I feel like
They do. They do. They low-key do. But to be fair, that's so much truer than anything Draymond has ever done.
yeah.
But
I
again,
think no, I'll chime in a little bit now. Nurkic was playing chess. He knew that this is the type of things that's gonna happen. Everyone knows this is Draymond's insane weakness. He's being stupid. You're being extremely stupid. These are rookie mistakes. The guys I expect making the mistakes are Moody, Kuminga, not a 33-year-old Draymond Green. A Draymond Green who's been in the NBA since the early 2010s. You don't expect this from that type of guy. So, yes, I agree. The media, I mean, again, who gives a crap about the media? It's the biggest load of crap.
we are the media.
Who gives a crap about fake media? Who gives a crap about the majority of media? You know what I mean? Who gives a crap? Because at the end of the day, we know they have their agendas. LeBron, suck him off. Suck Bronny James. Anything LeBron related, Lakers related, LA related. Oh yeah, do all that. Hate on Draymond. That's another part of their agenda. We know this, but who cares about that? That's not what I'm talking about. Am I saying when I said that he actually has mental issues? Okay, do I actually mean he's a raging lunatic alcoholic? No, I don't mean that. I think he has anger issues.
Tempers, yes.
He has anger issues, and that is a mental issue. But here's the thing: fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. We've always had excuses from the beginning. Oh, kicking Steven Adams in the nuts, man, it happens to the best of us. He was passionate about socking JP in the freaking face. Like, oh man, JP just got the bag. He was mouthing him off. Okay, man, we made excuses about that. We just won the chip. We couldn't have done it without Draymond.
I mean, it's true.
I agree. So that's why we kind of coped. We were like, all right, man, it's fine. Putting Gobert in a chokehold. And then in a span of 15 games, getting ejected twice. He's only played 15 games, and he got ejected twice.
3 times.
3 times. Oh my god.
But the one he was just an ejection and gets suspended. But he's gotten suspended twice.
So it's like, does he have mental issues? Like, is he like Trevor from GTA? No, that's not what I'm trying to say. But you have some sort of problem in your brain where you are losing. You're losing the overall game.
Back in the old days, they would have just said he had a short fuse.
That added no value to my take.
I'm just saying.
But that is my point. Again, who actually cares about the media? Who I could care less about the media. They're already biased, and they're casuals. They're freaking casuals. You know, the average media is like, yeah, Draymond isn't even a
except wait a second. The media narrative, absolutely. They've officially acknowledged that the narrative around Draymond contributes to the way that they treat him as a player in terms of discipline. It's been officially acknowledged that his quote unquote history.
No, that's right. I agree with that.
I mean, it's
good. History. No, I agree with that.
That his history contributes to the
way I agree with that. Why would you disagree with that? If you have a student in a class, you have a kid from like kindergarten to 5th grade.
So then you're saying the media narrative should matter.
I'm saying it's over exaggerated. Which it is.
But it's either over exaggerated or it doesn't matter.
It's over exaggerated, and to a certain degree, it doesn't matter. Because the same media also then posts countless highlights of Bronny James scoring 5 points. So again, you look. My point is this: the media is take it down 7 notches. Okay, it's at level 10. Take it down to level 3. There is some truth to it, however. There is some truth to it. That would be foolish of us to just ignore just because we don't like what they're saying. Take it down 7 notches. We made this mistake with JP. Honestly, Draymond was in the wrong. There was no if, ands, or but about it. You're not Jordan, brother. You're not Jordan. You're not Jordan. So
Fights happen in practice all the time. If it hadn't been leaked, nobody would care. Nobody would know.
I think our chemistry would not have been as damaged as it was because the video got leaked, but there would have been actual damage. By the way, I completely forgot who ruined the whole KD dynamic as well. A big factor.
KD being a baby, right?
Exactly. Is that the answer? For everything?
There's a factor KD was a baby as well. But who was also kind of involved, who also perhaps took it up a couple levels, who perhaps was a little bit extra. That's the word. That's the word of the day for Draymond. He's extra. He's extremely extra.
But also, Draymond got us KD. Like, he literally did. It's like just a proven fact.
Again, that is true. When did I deny that? But just because someone did something good doesn't mean it cancels out when they do something wrong.
Well, yeah, if what they did that was good made the thing that they did wrong possible in the first place, yes, it does.
No, not at all.
If you're saying
because
let's do a little bit of let's do a little bit of like philosopher's logic, like a logical chain. Okay, so if we're assuming that KD not being on the Warriors is a bad thing, then the worst possible thing would be KD never being on the Warriors. But if Draymond made that possible, that would thus by definition weigh out any possible harm he did to the relationship that KD had with the Warriors once he was there.
No.
It's
pros and cons. There's pros and cons. No, this is not a
philosophy class.
This is not no. This is we could go into philosophy. I have no problem with that. This is not a bank account. +5, -5. It's canceled out. That's not how.
It'll be like
the
plus
real
1,000
world
minus 1.
That's not how the real world works.
We got the rings.
We got the
We
rings.
have the rings, and
Am I?
and if you're saying we have the rings because of KD, then you're saying we have the rings because of
Did I
Draymond.
ever say that Draymond has no pros? He has never contributed
He is beyond
to winning chips. No, see, that's exactly my problem. He's not beyond criticism. Because you know who is? No one.
Steph.
No, not even Steph.
What?
This is
Clay?
definitely not Clay.
Yeah, not Clay.
About to punch the shit out of Clay. It's definitely not Clay. But that's my whole point. Someone has a track record. You know, again, we don't know for sure, but let's say Draymond was the opposite. He had the opposite effect. He did not cause beef with Draymond, with KD. KD could have stayed for another 2 years. Maybe. I'm not saying it probably wouldn't happen anyways. It wasn't likely. KD was probably gonna leave regardless. But my point is.
What do you mean? KD's been so loyal in his career outside of when he was with us.
That's true. I don't
He's
know.
being sarcastic. He's being sarcastic.
It's been like 7 years at OKC.
He did actually.
I mean, then proceed. If we're talking about canceling things out,
We're talking about media narratives. KD's quote unquote disloyal. He's kind of insanely over exaggerated.
He's of course disloyal. Oh my god, we're not getting into that tangent. My point is simply this. Someone has a track record of being extra/obnoxious. Draymond, please, for God's sake, calm down. We need you on the court, bro.
I mean, I think like for a while the the positives outweighed the negatives, and like now it's kind of the negatives are actually too much for like how much is.
I agree with that.
Because
That's the problem.
I feel
with
like
that mentality, though. But here's the problem with that mentality, Wes. It led us to this point. Imagine if Kerr, when these first changing events started, when Draymond was kind of acting out, being rowdy, whatever, and Kerr went to Dre and was like, "Look, dude, you gotta cut this crap out."
and then he would not be the same player. You think Draymond is the same player? You think he's the same player with like half the passion?
You could have fire, you could have energy, you could have passion, but you could not. There's a fine line. There's a very fine line, thin line. Dre generally was within that line. He generally is. Again, the media likes to say that like he's constantly passing the line. That's not what I'm saying. However, there's a fine line. There's a very fine line, and he always and he goes through it. He crosses that line many times. So the problem is, I get your guys' point. He's a different player. I'm not saying he becomes like Kevon Looney. No fighting, just chill, doesn't really talk, not much. No, you could have fire, you could have passion, but you have to do it in a smart manner. Play chess. Be smart, Draymond. Be smart. Like, he handled the Celtics series so well, that finals. It was immense pressure, dude. I cannot even imagine entering the racist TD Garden, all like racist as hell Celtics fans, and they're chanting "F you, Draymond." It's insane pressure. everyone wants the Warriors to
But
lose.
he rose to the moment, which is what
He
he always
rose to the moment. No, he doesn't always do that now, unfortunately. That's the problem. That's the
I think
problem.
in the playoffs he kind of does.
He always does.
When
The
does he
2023
choke?
playoffs, he was okay. He was okay. It wasn't like again, 2022
Nah,
just different. 2022 was different.
that's
But my
fair.
point is simply this. We need that type of Draymond, like a smart Draymond. Imagine he started going flipping the crowd off. F you guys.
Dude, that was awesome.
What the flipping the crowd off?
Yeah, flipping Memphis, Boston off. Fuck
Yeah.
them. Fuck them all. Yeah.
True, I agree. Okay, that is kind of cool.
I like when he's hyping up the crowd, and I mean occasionally.
That I like exactly when he's talking to the crowd. He's feeling it. But this stuff is just unacceptable, and we're on a tangent, and we could just keep on going. But
Yeah.
dude, I'm saying this from like a disappointed father. Although this man is like 15 years older than me, but as a disappointed father, I'm just like, dude, it's like you see a student, man, you got a lot of potential, kid. You just gotta hit the books, stay out of trouble, stay out of drugs, don't be with the wrong crowd, and the sky's the limit. Although he has reached the sky, 4 chips, one of the greatest defensive players of all time.
Why does it matter? Who cares?
Why does it matter? Because we're trying to win a ring this year. God damn it.
But
We need him on the court. What type of stupid point is that?
Shaq. I mean, okay. Shaq said this on his podcast.
He has a podcast too.
Yeah, they all have podcasts.
Everyone's got a podcast.
But anyways, Shaq made one thing. Is like,
Bro, why does everyone have a
Oh,
podcast? Actually,
hey
so
guys.
unoriginal.
any assertion that this version of Draymond is somehow meaningfully different than the version of Draymond that won championships is just wrong. It's not true. It's not true.
Hey, I agree with
There's
that.
no
I
way
agree
you
with
could possibly
I agree
argue
with
that
that. I
like he
agree
did like last.
that. But I also just don't. I don't think it was right then.
There's no way you could. Well, then why watch the Warriors? Watch a different team that doesn't have Draymond on it. If you want to see the Warriors win championships,
That's
you
not
need
true.
to see
No,
Draymond
that's
play like Draymond.
that's cope. That's extreme cope. You know why? Because just because you like a team, you follow a team, doesn't mean you cannot
not what I'm
constructively criticize them. This is constructive criticism. If I think
There's no
Draymond,
criticism to be had. You just won. That's it. End of story. You won.
did we win last year?
No.
Are we gonna? Is it looking like we're gonna win this season?
Okay, well now the argument is completely shifted because I said
How's
there's
it
no reason that this version of Draymond is meaningfully different than the one that won
When
championships.
you win championships, does that mean everything was perfect? No, there's always things to
the
improve.
Draymond that
There are
Kinda.
always things to improve.
For the
There are
most part,
always
yeah.
things to improve.
the Draymond that was winning championships was kicking people in the nuts. Okay, it's who he is.
No, see that's where I think that it's just cope. You cannot say that. You cannot just be like, oh man, it's okay. He's good in
It's not that
Seven
it's
things.
quote unquote okay or not okay. It's just reality.
No, so you could change that. That's my whole exact point. That is the mentality I disagree with. You change that. You change for the better. You look at Ron Artest, meta world peace, baby. He changed for the better.
Well, when he elbowed Harden, his name was already World Peace.
Okay, well,
So
well from the what was it called, the fight, the
Mouse at the Palace.
Palace. I
he
think
did get better.
he went from -1,000 to like -10. You know what I mean?
Honestly, that Harden elbow was kind of worse than punching a fan that threw beer at you.
Yeah, shit, dude. That fan deserved it. Fan deserved it. One of the world's greatest atrocities is that Ron Artest did not connect on that punch.
Okay, but that guy got suspended for like
He should have gotten suspended from life.
He did. He did.
By, from life.
Like,
By a punch to the
Killed.
face, yeah.
Dude, that's actually
Just
crazy. He
finished
took
Ron
him
Artest.
on though, kind of like took him on.
I mean, I think he didn't have a choice. Artest got there too fast.
But I mean, respect like for that guy, like goddamn, if Ron Artest is coming at you, goddamn, man, that's.
Imagine it was like Prime Shaq. What do you do?
I mean, he's too slow. I would run away as a fan of that.
No, Prime Shaq. Prime Shaq.
Shaq was running down the court like
Yeah, actually, that's true. Again, I think this is just a difference in
We
mentality.
got up on a
I
tangent.
always think there's room for improvement, except for Steph. I mean, other than Steph, you can't really in the Warriors core. Ever since, you can't really. There's always room for improvement. I don't know how you guys could disagree with that.
I mean, I think even with Steph, like even as he gets older, he finds like little ways that he masters the game a little different. Like he's not getting more athletic or better at shooting, I guess, but like he is kind of becoming like slightly. It's kind of like intangible, but he does become like a better master of the game. It seems, but that's another.
because he is the ultimate professional.
Yeah.
You know, this will segue into my second kind of other point where I'm disappointed with Draymond. You are trying to have a professional image. You want to have a recording, whatever company, media company. You want to be an analysis commentator. You want to have a professional image, correct? You look at his podcast, professional. Looks like the real deal. But the problem is on the court, you cannot be a clown, my friend. You look at a guy like Curry, the ultimate professional. He is 35, about to turn 36. Doesn't look like he's really skipped a beat. I hate to say it. I hate to say it. You look at LeBron James, the truly probably the ultimate professional in the NBA history. The professional. Like seriously, the professional. If that's not a nickname he has,
His profession choking.
if that's not his nickname, I am copywriting that. The professional, because he is the professional. He is the utmost professional. Jordan is the GOAT for sure, but he wasn't the professional. He was out there gambling. He was out there
Well, what does that
partying.
tell you about being professional?
What does it go tell you? Jordan could have had 4 more rings
Yeah,
if he was the
that's-
professional. That's what it tells you. LeBron James is the professional. Just because you don't like someone doesn't mean you can't. You got to give them credit where credit is due. Kobe was a professional too. He was.
What was his profession? Sexual assault?
Getting away with it is that his profession.
You guys know what I mean. Another professional,
KD,
Tom Brady,
KD.
another
Yeah, actually,
ultimate
that's
professional.
true, dude. That's
Another-
something I'll finally back
The
up.
brother was a vegan. He'd go to his like island, train. Brother was 40. Thomas, you know this better than me. 45,
I mean, when he retired, you won an MVP at 42.
42 years of age. Playing the most physically excruciating game. Oh, sorry, no. As a QB, it's not the most physically excruciating, but
It's the most interesting game, but yeah, I mean,
but like obviously LeBron's is a lot more
Yes,
role.
yes.
Like Gordon, whoo, and all that. But
winning
again.
offensive fouls every possession.
my point is that you have to be a professional. You really do. It really bothers me that he's just being just so immature, dude. 3 ejections in 15 games. 2
Yeah.
suspensions. Bro, we're not even at the halfway point.
Yeah, that's what I don't know. Like, it seems like he's just like worse than usual. Because I do kind of enjoy him like annoying the refs and like being a little like
Agreed.
elbow here and there. But like, it
Agreed.
does seem like it's kind of heightened this year for some reason. It's kind of, I don't know like what it is. Like even you, Thomas, you have to admit it's not just like regular old like annoying, a little bit dirty Draymond. It's like it does seem like it's like yeah, sloppy kind of old head energy, kind of like
It's
I don't
just
know.
big incidents, which both.
Within how many games, brother?
I mean, you're right.
That's the problem here. I think you're missing that point.
No,
The
but-
problem is not that Draymond did these things. He's kicked people in the nuts before. He punched his student. That's not the problem.
I don't care about that. You can
The
say this
problem
many
is
times,
this.
I'm not gonna
The
care.
problem is this.
Did you guys see Poole? Oh, you guys sent me one of you guys sent the clip, right? of Poole
That was
still-
so funny. That edit is elite. LeBron like ghost or whatever. Dude, actually, I honestly kind of feel bad for Poole a little bit.
Why?
You know why, dude? Because it's like
He's getting paid. He's getting paid like $30 million a year to be the worst guy in the entire world at what he does.
no. You know why I feel bad?
That's
because
That's the greatest
he's
job in the world.
homegrown talent, brother.
But talent. Is that how you're gonna describe him?
2022. He was a third man on a.
He's our homegrown, the luckiest man in the world. Because every single one of the shots that he made, I refuse to believe was anything other than luck.
He was just so sick, man. The shoulder shaking, like he'd be 0 for 9, hit the 10,
Dancing.
1 for 9, shoulder shrugging. Like I like JP. I don't care. I know Tom's.
No, I
loved
liked him
him.
too, and then he.
I.
It's okay. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
I liked him. I had fun watching him, and then he was one of the worst players in the league, and I didn't have fun watching him.
What do
Yeah,
you
he
think?
was
What?
What about Wiggins?
Well, Wiggins doesn't have the added problem of being one of the cockiest players in the league as well, which only makes it more frustrating. To
You know
watch.
what makes it?
But yeah, I'm starting to dislike him. I'll admit
You know
it.
why
I'm
I
starting to
just
get
like
frustrated
him more
with
than JP as of right now?
with who more than JP?
28 Wiggins. You're 28 years old.
Wiggins is 23. How do you fall off at 23?
Andrew Wiggins?
No, I meant Poole. How could you? If you're going to use the argument he's 28, how do you fall off at 28? How could you possibly say?
Hold on now.
Who was
Hold on.
different?
Hold on now. If JP, well, first of all, this is my take right now. We could come
He's got
back.
the keys to the team too. There's like no
Here's
one
my
standing in
tip.
your way.
Here's my take we can record this. It's online. It'll be posted. I think JP could become a competent player when he's like 26, 27, 28. He's figuring out his role right now. He's 23 years old. He's just been handed the keys to an entire franchise.
Must have forgotten it then.
However, he's in a very different role than what he was with the Warriors. With the Warriors, we were able to.
His role's the exact same as being dog shit.
No, that's not true. With the Warriors, his role, again, his weaknesses were not as they were not under a microscope as much. Because guess what, Kerr was able to devise a scheme that could protect him, right? But now all of a sudden, in a span of a year, like 2022 chip, 2023 bad season, 2024. So in a year, he's now the number one option.
I mean, didn't he have an okay 2023 regular season? I mean, obviously playoffs, him and Clay.
It was okay. It was like
peace out, but
it was not.
It was not as good as it was like.
Because Steph was out a while, and I remember Clay.
It was the main source of frustration amongst the Warriors fan base. You can't do revisionist history on that. It was. In a disappointing season, he was the main source of frustration. His defensive struggles, his constant turnovers.
I just think he was out of it.
His refusal to show up in the big moments. There were a lot of things we said about last year, but he was the number one. And then in the playoffs, it only got worse, and we got rid of him.
I agree. But my point is this, and I actually stand by this take. Give JP 5 years. I think he'll develop into a competent player. He is insanely talented. He is insanely good. He's young. He's immature.
Yeah.
And again, he is not a professional right now. Again, that is a huge differentiating factor. When you see talent,
Draymond knocked professionalism out of him.
But I think give him 5 years. I think in his prime, he'll be very good. I stand by that.
I could get behind that, I guess. I mean, I just like right now it's not even like, because I feel like a bunch of young guys, they at least put up like a lot of points, but obviously it's like empty stats. He's like not even doing that.
He's the worst player in the league. He is the worst player in the league. His on-off numbers are the worst in the league. There is nobody that makes his team worse when he's on the court than him as of right now.
I agree.
Just a fact.
I agree. I see again. You're not listening to what I'm saying. I never said that.
Why on earth would that be why would you think that that's a great baseline to build an eventual competent player from, as opposed to any other young player?
I never said any other. I never said the other young player. He's gonna be better than every young player.
Why would he be better than any of them if he's significantly worse than a lot of other young guys? Why?
Like I said, I think right now he's given a very different role. He's adjusting. It'll take him time. Here's the crossroads. He's at a crossroads here. JP has two choices: become a professional. Become a professional.
He can't shoot.
Work on your craft.
He can't shoot. He doesn't have to jump anymore.
Work on your craft. Remember how to shoot again.
It went away.
Remember
how magic. You can't just magically make yourself be able to shoot again.
Become a professional again. Work on your craft. Put in those hours. Ignore the haters, because there's a lot of pressure on him. There's a lot of pressures on him. And I think he could become a good player again. I do, and I 100% think he could. And will it take time? Yes. Is it possible that he doesn't become a professional? He still is.
But that, again, you're
not working hard.
The idea that becoming a professional is what's standing between him and being good is ridiculous.
I think putting the hours, yeah.
What is meaningfully different about his personality or approach to the game?
He got the bag.
Then, really,
that's true. That is true. He got the
bag. That's a common thing you see with a lot of young people. Ben Simmons, he's another prime example.
I will say,
got the bag.
I will say though, even under that logic, so you think just magically his approach is going to change, his mentality?
I think his hours decreased, his effort, one thing is this: for a whole season, his effort levels with the Warriors were like decreased. He was kind of half-hearted. So for a season, you kind of half-heartedly play a game, and then immediately a year later, you are the main guy.
But if you're the kind of guy who gives up or doesn't care when you get the bag, then that's who you are. It's not gonna.
I think that's why when he came to the Wizards, and now he's under a lot of heat, a lot of scrutiny. He's under a lot of pressure. Pressure makes diamonds.
The argument is that simultaneously he needs to be a professional and work hard to get better, but that he's also the type of person who refuses to work hard and get better when he gets money, which he already got.
Like I said, I think pressure makes diamonds. his new role, his new entire, I guess.
His role doesn't have anything to do with it if it's about the bag. It can't be both.
No, so absolutely, because what happened? What did anyone really like in the beginning of the 2023 season? Did anyone really foresee him getting traded? No, not really. I didn't. No one did. Right?
I mean,
we
post
just
Draymond. Post Draymond.
Even that, no one
we had just
thought.
paid him.
Yeah, we had just paid him. So no one thought he would leave. So again, like I said earlier, I think JP will turn it around. I do. I'll stand by the take. I don't want to do that cheap thing and be like, well, if he does this, he'll do great. Otherwise, no. I'll stand by a take. I think JP will become a good player.
You're setting yourself up for failure with that one.
Anyway, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I see an insane amount of talent on JP. I watched him for 2 years. 2022 was not a fluke. You cannot fluke a year. You cannot fluke.
Yes, you can.
You cannot.
Wiggins currently doing it. Wiggins is currently showing us that you can.
No, I think Wiggins is another example of getting the bag. He got a 4-year 100.
So if 2022 wasn't a
In
fluke,
fact,
Didn't
Wiggins
Wiggins already get a?
Wiggins is a great example. The Timberwolves, he got
I
the
could have
bag.
sworn Wiggins already got a. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly, and he sucked with the Timberwolves. What happened? He came to a new team. He was
No.
under pressure. He was under scrutiny.
no, that's not true at all.
Okay, go ahead. Please correct me.
That's not true at all. He was playing for a contract when he came to the Warriors. He was trying to get the bag with the Warriors, and then we gave it to him. He didn't have it with the Timberwolves, and he sucked.
Are you?
It was his
100%
contract
sure?
year. Yes, 100% sure. Look it up.
Let's check
I
it
mean, I
out.
wouldn't be surprised if he's in the contract, but I could have sworn he already got like a big contract in Minnesota. But I guess no. I don't know. Do you know Clay's in a contract year? So
Yes, I mean, if he can't, that's indicative of
So Thomas is right, but
Backstep.
again, my point is he came to this new team. He also did get the bag with the Timberwolves too. By the way, he was the main guy for them. He was the first pick overall.
Yeah, but he was.
But again,
he was on a rookie salary.
What happens though? What happens?
He was on his rookie
He was
salary.
under
That's
pressure.
not the bag. That's
True.
just-
He was under pressure. He was under scrutiny. They said that his career was over. He's a bust. Blah blah. And he turned things around, albeit for a season. I see JP turning it around. I really do. He really.
But
There's nowhere to go but up. I think from where he
that's true.
that's true.
But that just means the guy sucks. It doesn't mean that he's
I
going
think
to
he'll
turn it around.
I think he'll turn around. He's young. He's adjusting to a new
There's
role.
nowhere for Isaiah Thomas to go bit up.
He's adjusting to he's adjusting to a new role.
There's nowhere for Boogie Cousins to go bit up.
He's adjusting to a new role. It takes time to adjust. It takes people some seasons. Curry was not Curry overnight.
Man, I think I have to drop this
People-
because it's gonna be the entire podcast.
People doubt Curry. People really doubted Curry. He was gonna get traded. Yeah, albeit because of ankle.
Now you're
injuries.
going to Curry.
Dude, Clay's not even on the. I mean, no, Clay's not even on the list of things to talk about.
I'm gonna leave the room if
True.
you compare him to Curry.
Curry was gonna be our trade piece to the Bucks, but then we luckily traded Monte Ellis.
Okay, here's a good transition. So
Dude,
we were talking about Draymond.
Cool to Curry.
We were talking about Draymond. He got suspended. Who did that leave? Like a little room for to pop off. Pajemski.
Brandon Pajemski.
Boom. What do you guys say about Pajemski?
I was also gonna say Terrence Jackson Davis.
Terrence?
We can edit that out.
No, that's fine. We don't have to trace Jackson Davis, TJD. TJD.
Try it again. There we go.
TJD, baby. TJD.
Let's go.
Good old TD. I think he also is getting a bigger role, which I like to see. I really like it. I do. You know what? I'm gonna shut the hell up. I'll let you guys talk for a little bit.
You can talk about Pajemski first.
All right. Let's talk about Brandon Pajemski. Brandon Pajemski is, I think, at this point, I think we could all recognize at least over the last about 2 weeks, probably the second best player on the Warriors. Is that an exaggeration? Again,
But Dempsey's the second best player on the
over
Warriors.
the last 2 weeks.
I mean, Clay and Wiggins have both kind of turned it around as well.
Clay has been turning it around. Maybe the third behind Steph and Clay.
What about big $110 million man Wiggins?
He had an okay last game.
One good
He had
game.
one good game. Wesley,
That's enough for me.
he's the cope meter is slowly shifting to you now, brother.
But again, I think we could agree at minimum probably the third best player on the Warriors over the last 3 weeks as a rookie, and not a lottery pick either. A guy who was taken 19th overall, and a guy who, to be quite honest, I think the general NBA community probably didn't know that much about because he was playing at Santa Clara, which is a
Santa Clara, baby.
Um,
Shout out.
shout out.
Shout out.
Local for who?
for people who live in the Bay Area, an unspecified location in the Bay Area. We're Warriors fans. We're from the Bay Area.
Yeah. No, I'm a Warriors fan from India.
We're Bay Area guys.
I'm from Hyderabad.
Nowhere specific in the Bay Area.
No, I'm from New Delhi.
Okay, so Brandon Pajimski has the most. If you were to Google white guy game, in it should be his image that pops up. He has the most white guy game of I think maybe anybody to ever play in the NBA.
You think so?
What does he do? Let's break out the cliches.
Hustles.
He makes the right plays. He has high basketball IQ. He's unselfish.
Holy crap! He has such
hustle.
basketball IQ.
He
owns Shaden Sharp.
He is the white guy basketball player. It is so. The Warriors haven't. When was the last time the Warriors had a guy like this on the roster? I can't remember it.
Draymond Draymond has that.
No, but it's like no. But like
Iguodala.
Well, Draymond doesn't fit the criteria.
Steph.
Iguodala.
No.
KD.
Make the right plays.
Okay, actually, Iggy's the closest.
Yeah.
He knew.
But again, does it technically fit my specifications for one reason?
Why?
Oh, it has something to do with like an innate characteristic of him.
Oh, the hairstyle?
Oh, no, something else. Something a bit more, even more innate.
I'm lost.
Anyways.
The number, probably.
Anyways. He plays the game like he's been in the league for 15 years. It's kind of incredible.
He's showing Draymond how to stay on the court.
Takes charges. He makes good passes. He hits shots when it feels like whenever you need him to hit a shot, he hits it. He plays tenacious defense. Although I will admit there are some plays where he gets like blown by us or he gets bodied.
Okay,
stuff. But again,
brother, this is just like
I'm praising him. I'm just trying to. I'm giving an overview. I'm not critiquing. I'm just saying, obviously he's not a perfect player. And I think the most incredible thing, the thing that makes me the most optimistic and the most happy to see him on the court, is that he can attack the rim. He doesn't look like it. And he doesn't he doesn't look like it because again, like he doesn't have much bounce for reasons. But he has, I think, a really underrated, or at least again, I'm using cliches that correspond to white guys here, but he has that sneaky athleticism. He has a great first step. He really does. And again,
his handle isn't super great.
His handle isn't. I think it's not kind of, but it's functional. You don't see him get stripped that much, do you?
True.
It's not flashy, but it's functional. And again, he has I think a genuinely great first step.
He has a great this move, the putting the ball up type thing. Like when you're going for a layup, like taking it over the guy type thing.
Boom, boom.
Yeah. That thing, the boom, boom, and going up for the layup.
Again,
like the move I used back in the day.
He has a great first step and get past guys, and he's a legitimately good finisher, like an above average finisher.
He's
on Warriors roster is just such a nice sight to see. And again, the way he does it, it's a little bit unorthodox. It's a little bit, it's a little bit creative. It takes a little bit of classiness to pull off. but he gets it done. Honestly, whose game reminds me of? One of our co-hosts, who is able to just miraculously like toss one-handed. Like,
that is actually such
his hook shot.
Phenomenal comparison. He's literally Wes.
While leaning away from the, he really does.
Both have a similar nose too.
Similar face.
Actually, literally, you guys kind of look similar too. Actually, wait.
No, he has like blonde hair and like curly.
Wait. Why do you have blonde hair? Well, you could be Indian for all.
You're doxing your race.
You could be Indian for all the fans.
Worse than doxing your location.
Wait. Pod.
But anyways, I mean, that was, I guess.
All right, for the editor, put Wes's pick and Podzimski's pick. Wait, let's see an image.
Share screen.
Yeah, your guys' noses are similar, and your guys' forehead is also similar.
But anyways, back to the basketball aspects of
nose and forehead is the same. Teeth are
ability to play basketball.
Ear is very different.
Back to his ability to play basketball.
He also has curly hair. But yeah, actually, his game is very similar to Wes's.
It's this kind of unorthodox, funky, like weird. Like I feel like we haven't had a lot of guys like that on the Warriors roster. And it's a welcome sight to see again because this is one of the last guys I would have expected to give us meaningful contributions here.
I agree.
And when everybody else is either performing just up to expectations or performing below expectations, him wildly exceeding them is such a welcome relief. In fact, I think I would go so far as to say that if he hadn't shown up like this, I would be thinking about this season as a lost season.
Yeah.
And he's one of the only reasons why I still have hope. So shout out to him.
Okay, wow. Sorry, guys. Apologies. The new Discord call ringer. I gotta go and do not disturb, man. I'm getting notifications left, right, up, and center. I'm a popular man. What can I say? I was with you all the way till the end. I don't think he's a factor to have hope to win a chip this season. By no means necessary. Because is he playing meaningful minutes? Is he playing well? Abso-freaking-lutely. Is he a extremely bright spot for the future? Abso-freaking-lutely. However, can he he cannot. He really hasn't, except for one game, if I recall correctly, led us to a win. Now, am I saying that's his role, that he should do that? Not at all. He's a rookie. But he cannot really lead us to wins. Yeah, he does his role. He exceeds his role. He tries to bring us back into games, but he doesn't quite have that kind of one step to win games, to win chips. You need a player like that.
He's gotten buckets for us in big moments.
He has, but he has won us one game. Actually, even the game against last game where he took the charge on Shaden Sharp.
He won that game.
Goodness.
He's made so many winning plays.
He really, his handle also on the handle. It reminds me of not as good, but in a way, it reminds me of like a worse version of Jamal Murray's handle. Not very flashy, but he gets to the spots he needs to get to, and he doesn't get stripped very often.
I see it. Yeah. I mean, one thing I noticed when I'm watching him is he's always like when Draymond wasn't suspended, he's always like talking to him on the bench or talking to Steph on the bench. Or like during the game, he's talking to the refs, like, "Oh, about this call, like I was standing like this. Was that a charge? What was that? Like I was."
Absolutely, he's like our Austin Rivers.
Yeah, and he's just like a sponge. I love his energy. Like it's.
Oh man, that's such a good freaking point, dude. He's a crowd talker. Gets hyped. I hate to say it. This is really giving me like JP vibes. Not like play style, but like a young guy who's playing well. The Warriors fan base are loving him. He's really gelling with the guys. Next season, we find out he got punched by Draymond Green. Draymond Green strikes again. He was talking too much.
No, but I mean,
Very
one other thing, like other than like just like the small things he does, I guess, like taking charges, getting rebounds, which he's like elite at somehow. Like he's also like another plus he gets, especially with Draymond out, is he's like a legitimate secondary ball handler. Like he can, besides Steph, he can like, I'm very comfortable with him bringing out the floor, especially even in the clutch. Like I'm fine with him kind of making decisions, and then that gives Steph and Clay the room to just like move off ball, and especially with like if Looney's out there, that's like, what do you guys think about like back before Draymond got suspended, like those like keeping the starting lineup with Steph, Clay, Dre, Wiggs, and Loon? I feel like Kerr just changed it earlier than he did, because it seems like there's not enough shooting, even with how good Draymond has been shooting this year.
Yeah. That's the problem, is that if you want that lineup to work, you need Wiggins to be like a 38% three-point shooter like he was in 2022, which he's just not last season.
Yeah.
We need Wiggins and Looney out of the starting five.
Wiggins, I think keep him in, but
I think put Pods instead of him.
I think Pods is like fine for the time being. Like I like how it is now. I like Wiggins coming off the bench now, but I think in the playoffs, like at our best, when we need to guard a Kawhi or like potentially, I don't think he can defend at an elite level quite yet, especially on those bigger wings. Like we need a guy that can defend.
No, you're 100% right.
Think. You just can't.
You can't. I agree with that.
Yeah.
As well. But I just think that problem is that we're in a very unique situation. Wiggins used to be a respectable offensive player, even when he was with the Timberwolves. His defense was horrible. Now we're in the opposite situation. His defense is respectable, but his offense is atrocious. But that's the problem. If our starting five consists of, let's say we take out Looney, we put in Terrence TGD.
Well, that's not an idea anybody suggested.
Okay, so Sarge then.
That's still not the idea.
Okay, who are you guys proposing to put as the starting five?
My ideal starting five would be Steph, CP3, Clay, Wiggins, and Dre.
That kind of feels too small. I feel like
I don't think so. We won championships with Dre as the five.
That offense.
We won championships with
our offensive load
CP.
We're breaking Curry's back. If Clay does not show up, we're literally destroying Curry. He's just like he's carrying bricks on his back. What are you talking about? I don't think that's a good starting five.
I mean, I think it'd be Steph, Clay, Dre, Wiggs.
I think it's Steph. Sorry, finish it.
Maybe Pajemski or Kuminga, I want to say. Because, I mean, that fifth guy doesn't have to be, like, insanely good. He just kind of has to do what the other guys aren't too good at, like rebounding and...
Here's what I think. Steph
I would
play.
swapping.
Hold on. Steph
CP3.
play. GP2
Oh, yeah, I forgot about GP2 when he's back.
at the 3, Dre at the 4, and at the 5,
Yeah, that's why that 5 spot is kind of tough. 'Cause
Sarich.
I don't know, I just kind of like him off the bench because he's kind of like...
No.
Yeah,
not
he's
good
been
enough
really.
defensively.
He's been. Yeah. he's
Here's
been
a fact. I don't want to be. I don't want to be put in this position to be disrespectful to him because he's been.
Okay, Kuminga at the
Trivia.
4, Dre at the 5.
But then I don't like Kuminga starting in the playoffs. That's...
Yeah, again. I mean,
It just-
he can always continue to improve.
We're in a tough position. That's the problem because it's like okay. I think the first
We
3.
win ships with Dre at the 5. Why is it such a bad idea now?
No, I put him at the 5. I put Kuminga at the 4. That's the problem. The 4 is the problem. And I don't want Wiggins.
You think so? Essentially, you genuinely believe that going forward, Minga is going to be a better forward than Wiggins.
I don't think at the man, it's such a tough.
I would
decision.
still genuinely, again, we're talking about things that aren't even guaranteed to happen because they might even make playoffs. But I think
just such a.
I would just hope. I would just pray that over an 82 game sample size, Wiggins would at least prove himself to be a better choice to start than.
I mean, as of right now, Kuminga is better.
Yeah, I mean,
Not
unfortunately,
not
but again,
not
it's not even that.
defensively.
It's not like by such a wide margin that I think you could just say 100%.
Yeah,
And given
that's
the fact
yeah.
that Wiggins is hopefully at his absolute floor right now, again, you would hope that by the time that more meaningful games roll around, he will at least be playing somewhat better enough to justify starting him over Kuminga.
But that's the thing. I feel like you know what I think we need to do. I think here's the future. Here's the plan for the rest of the season, and it's a risk. We're in a do or die situation regardless right now. I think Wiggins, unfortunately, he's just we cannot keep praying that he shows up. He'll change for the better. He'll eventually have that come back to 2020 Wiggins. I think it's time to scratch that. Honestly, we were kind of joking. Maybe see what we could trade him for right now.
I mean, I think if there is a trade, it's gonna be CP and Kuminga because Kuminga. I think if there is gonna be a trade made at the deadline, it's gonna be CP and Kuminga because they have.
It'd be Wiggins.
100% rather be Wiggins.
The player that all the buzz is about is Pascal Siakam because he's almost certainly going to be traded this deadline. I think that would just be the logical first candidate. But again, he's going to have a lot of suitors, and they're all going to have stuff to offer. So saying that we could just magically get just trade for him, that's not a magic bullet. But I would.
Kuminga's not nothing. Kuminga has tons of potential.
He's absolutely not, and I would do that in a heartbeat. But again,
no,
don't say that.
I wouldn't. It's tough, man, because the problem is that then we're jeopardizing our future.
Pascal Siakam's 28?
No, he's not.
28?
He's definitely 30.
Yeah, he was young in 2019.
He's not that old.
29, yeah.
Okay, so
dude, for a ring now, I would do that. Easy.
You mean ultra right, basically. It was like you were 1 year.
He's definitely 30,
and you said he was 28.
Definitely implies a certain
regardless
of my idea.
Regardless, you laughed like I was years off. 29.
Son, for a ring now, you wouldn't do it.
Yeah,
it's really tough. I don't think he guarantees us a ring.
I forgot. You think Kuminga's gonna turn into Giannis? So
I don't think he'll turn.
Okay, well, I don't think it's obviously a ring's not guaranteed. Anything. That's
my exact point.
Anything can happen, but we're definitely contenders.
A ring's definitely not guaranteed in the future if we just build around Kuminga. That's for me.
We're not building around Kuminga. These are good pieces. These are good pieces.
There's something you could swap. You could barter for a chance at a championship now, which I would 100% do.
I just don't think this lineup is cut for it. I don't think Siakam brings it back. I really just don't see it. It's unfortunate. Curry,
then just trade Steph and Clay. Just trade them all away. That's the only logical thing.
I agree with that on a logical sense, but the problem is that
yeah, Rose giving up.
Dude, let's
we're Warriors fans. So obviously, Clay, Curry, Dre, they're untouchables because I want them to ride out as Warriors, retire as Warriors. That they're untouchables because, yeah, it's illogical to a certain degree. Because of course, when you should trade Clay. For sure.
Pascal is basically 22 Wiggins because he's a good defender as well.
That's why you shouldn't trade them. Wait, sorry, can you repeat that?
Pascal is basically 22 Wiggins, if not better.
He's a better
22.
version of 22 Wiggins, although maybe slightly less mobile on the perimeter.
Yeah, but he's a solid defender.
Better than this version of Wiggins.
Not better than 2022 though.
He would add a level. He would add a presence in the paint that Wiggins
Yeah, I
could
agree.
match.
Yeah, I
He
agree.
couldn't even close to
The
match
Beyblade
that.
presence.
For real.
29. What is it? That old ass narrative. He's a good player.
No, I agree. I agree with that. I totally wholeheartedly agree. But I just don't think two players consistently showing up leads to a chip. I don't see it. Last season, if somehow
Steph, Clay, Dre.
Ever just stop watching the games. You're just eliminating the chance that we win a chip at all. It doesn't make any sense.
do you not understand English?
You're just saying we can't win the chip.
Did I say that?
Yeah.
Did I say we can't win the chip?
If you think that we shouldn't trade for a player to increase our chances, the only logical reason to do that.
Yeah, because absolutely. Because again, my whole point is I would give this season our best shot, but my priority is the future. I think as a franchise, we need to prioritize our future now.
With Stephen Curry on the roster.
Steph, what?
Stephen Curry.
Exactly, Hassan. What are you saying, Hassan?
No, I agree. Stephen Curry.
We have a guy that can carry us to the promised land. Like, it's a
He's
possibility if he's
again. I don't think the supporting cast is good enough.
exactly. That's why you're trying
Adding
to
one
make it
guy, I
better.
don't think changes that.
Yes, it could. You're just
I don't
wrong.
think so.
You are wrong in.
I don't think adding
You're wrong in a
Siakam,
Bro, Hassan,
adding Siakam will make us contenders with the rest of the guys not really carrying their load.
So what's like the biggest, like what's the huge difference between the 2022 squad and our current squad if we changed Pascal for Wiggins and Kuminga and CP? What's the huge difference?
The big difference is this: two of our big guys, Wiggins and Clay, are substantially worse.
Yeah, well, Pascal kind of replaces what Wiggins was, and Clay's not substantially worse. Apparently, he's
but
back.
We still are losing. We're still lacking two players, right?
Which
Clay
people-
and JP. Then, right? 2022, we had Curry, JP, Wiggins, and Clay, and of course Draymond. We have lost three good players now. JP.
We have a
Clay,
much
Wiggins.
better version of Moody. We have Pods, who's going to be a valuable.
Better is true, but
Who's going to be a valuable rotation piece.
It does not
And
replace
again, Pascal
the
Siakam
damage
is a
that
24 a night guy.
Okay, so that's why Siakam
Won a
replaces one guy.
championship as a main
Siakam
contributor,
replaces,
by the way.
Siakam replaces one
He
guy.
doesn't just replace him; he improves upon him.
Okay, Wiggins, right? So let's say he's how much better than Wiggins? Like if we were to say Wiggins was in 2022 out of 10, give me a number out of 2022 Wiggins out of 10.
So I think you're just not understanding, like, fundamentally. Like, okay, first of all, I don't really understand why you
I'm
want
not
to
engaged
focus
with
on the
that.
future right now while we have a guy that like is potentially be the best player on a championship team. I don't know why you forget the future, bro.
I don't want to forget the future because, again, I'm repeating. This is my main reason. You said what's the difference between us now and 2022? We have lost three significant pieces.
So, what would your
to a
plan
chip.
of action be?
My plan of action would be, as of right now, I mean, it's a great question. We're in a very difficult situation. I think try to trade CP and Wiggins for.
But what we were saying.
No, you guys said Kuminga.
I said CP and Kuminga. He said CP and Wiggins.
So we agreed. You saying Kuminga? I thought this.
Oh, that matters. Wait,
I apologize.
But again,
I know this.
no, I mean, I
on Wiggins and sorry, CP and Kuminga.
But I mean, CP and Kuminga would work too.
That's what I'm saying. I wouldn't want to.
It would be necessary to get teams to bite because CP and Wiggins are both loaded contracts at this point.
That's one of my whole problems. I wouldn't want to give up Kuminga.
I mean, this is one of the most classic delusional fan takes there is refusing to give up a decently good young player for an established star. Because you think everybody's always convinced that their young guys are going to be the ones that absolutely boom and turn into stars. But very few guys.
That is true. That in a way it is a bias. I agree with that. I totally agree with that. However, I just don't think it's worth trading a potential guy that could turn out to be a great piece.
Think about
for a guy we know is a star.
We know it's a star, but right now we don't have the surrounding pieces. That's what I'm trying to say.
We have Steph.
Again, one guy, 2021. Steph was there. We couldn't win, right? Steph was there. It's about the supporting
Draymond and Pascal Siakam is already like a top 5 core in the NBA. That's if you're assuming that Clay continues to play exactly like this. And by the way, over the last he's now shown over the past week that he has at least a version of himself still left, at least sometimes, that is significantly better than his average performance this season.
I just don't think
GP2 will be back.
I just don't think
GP2, who is in who has always been
look at
in a small sample size one of the most positive
here
players in the NBA.
here is just a very logical extension. Wes, you brought up a very good point. What's the difference between us and 2022? We have lost. Please let me finish this point. We've lost JP. We lost Wiggins. We lost Clay. Those versions of them. We lost those three guys. We lost those three versions of them. What do I mean by that? That means that we lost 3 out of 4. Out of 5 of our major pieces. These guys were major pieces. Currently, we have how many of those guys? We have Dre and we have Curry, who are filling those roles. That the roles we need for a chip. Now, what you guys are saying is that trading Kuminga for Siakam, that gets us 1 piece, but we're still missing 2 guys. We're still missing 2 crucial pieces to a chip, which is what we had in 2022. We had these players. So my take is, I just don't think it'll be enough. And I don't think it's worth the small percentage of a chance that Kuminga could turn out to be really great. We could then develop a really nice depth, like a 2015 time roster where we had, strength and numbers type beat. That's what I currently think. I think it's time to switch our lens to the future. And I hate it. I agree. We have Steph Curry. We have, in my opinion, in your guys' opinion as well, 1B, the one or 2 ranked point guard of all time, a top 10 player of all time. It's a shame. It's a shame that Wiggins and Clay are not the versions of themselves where we could really reap the benefits of Steph.
Well, I mean, the point is not like, oh, he's like top 2 all-time point guard. It's that we have, like, this doesn't come around often where you have a guy that you can possibly win a championship with. Like, you can't just have like a high-level all-star to win a championship. Like Jimmy Butler, he's probably like, I don't know, like the highest guy that I don't think you can really win a championship around. And like right now, how many guys do you think you can really win a championship around? Like probably Jokic,
Hey,
Steph,
Giannis,
KD, probably.
I wouldn't even say KD in that.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe not even KD. We have 1 of 4, maybe 5 guys in the league right now that you can possibly win a championship around.
No, I agree with that.
You don't think you should just go all in? Like one last year? I think Clay could.
By the way,
Clay,
2022 playoffs, Clay averaged 19 on 42%. So far this season, averaging 17 on 42%. So acting like it's this magical, this giant void that's disappeared in production, you're just wrong. Factually wrong. 2 points.
I don't think stats paint the whole picture though.
They don't.
So that's I think that's just wrong.
But the void you're attempting to
of course,
paint
currently, if
Is that Clay's gone?
dive deep,
He's not gone.
dive deep in the analysis and all the roles and blah blah blah. I think Clay, can we agree, is a worse version of that Clay. Okay.
Yeah, I can agree.
Now, to what degree? I mean, it's hard to measure because you cannot just look at.
If we're talking about trading CP and Kuminga, one of those pieces is somebody who was not even on the team in 2022. So
that's why I said CP3 is great. I
think Kuminga is the guy who wasn't getting any minutes in 2022. So we're not trading anything that we would have had contributing in 2022.
But he's
replacing with Pascal Siakam.
He was a rookie in 2022.
I know. But so if we're talking about the difference between this team and that team, whatever void in production that we're missing between the current version of Wiggins and the current version of Clay versus those versions of them would be more than made up for by adding a legitimate star in this league.
Again, like I said,
Siakam.
we are missing 2.
I think Clay. I genuinely believe Clay could be the Clay of.
Wiggins is not the same. So that's the whole problem, right?
But it's not. We're missing 2 pieces. It's 2 of our pieces are worse. We need to make up for that production by supplementing it with a star. Again, a guy who's not a role player.
Don't think Siakam could cover the gap.
Siakam provides a presence in the paint, both on offense and defense. He provides with finishing.
I don't think adding Siakam will fill the void.
He's a guy
of Wiggins completely just falling off a cliff. By the way, so you're talking about Clay, sure. Wiggins has fallen off a cliff. He's fallen off a cliff. He's literally fallen off a cliff. It's literally like a different
Let's just
player.
pretend that he doesn't exist anymore. He's not even on the roster.
But we're still missing 1 piece then.
But that 1 piece is being replaced by Pascal Siakam.
Okay, then we're missing JP and Clay.
Clay? A guy who I just pointed out.
Again,
either he only fell off for a little bit, or he's like not.
I think he's a decent amount worse than what he was in 2022.
And again, JP, there's all kinds.
Again, off the top of my head, I can't just say the stats, but we watched all this, guys. We watched the
did.
And you guys are telling me full genuineness that Clay doesn't look worse.
Like slightly, like
I'll concede like slightly. He's not like
10%.
I mean, he certainly started off pretty sloppy, but he's turned it around.
You not understand.
How are you arriving at 10%?
Pascal Siakam has already won a championship as one of the 3 best players on a roster. That's who we would be
He was
adding.
second best player on
He was
that team,
second.
honestly.
Second best player in that finals. Although Kyle Lowry, he was kind of Mr. Toronto, so you kind of have to like. But again, like in terms of production, like yeah,
Also, Gasol,
Second
Gasol
best.
defensively was.
and Gasol was. I
So
mean,
damn
that was a very well-rounded team. But Pascal Siakam in that final series, especially, was basically the second best player on that Raptors team. And they won a championship with him.
Again, I just don't think we're well rounded enough. With just adding Siakam, we'd be able to win a chip. I just don't think so.
I mean, also, like, what teams do you think are like? So, what teams are contending right now? Do you think? Because I don't think there's like a clear cut. I think Denver's the best, but I don't think they're untouchable
Denver, Celtics,
anymore.
Denver hasn't looked untouchable in the last.
Denver, Celtics, the Bucks,
So Steph owns Tatum, Steph owns Dame, Steph owns. Who else is he?
I agree.
Steph owns Jokic.
West.
Steph doesn't own Joel Embiid of the Philadelphia 76ers, one of the best teams by record in the league currently.
I just don't think
Team
by adding Siakam itself,
best point differential.
we're
in the league
still
by-
Missing one more piece.
Best point differential in the league, by the way, the year 2023-2024
I
Philadelphia.
mean, I think we're certainly. I think we're now on their level at least. I mean, maybe like
Who's
even like Jason Tim, he said like we're the lowest level of contenders, but I think adding Siakam, we're like firmly in the top. Like we're there now, I think for sure. Because
I just,
without a Siakam trade, we're in.
if Clay was even
Why
consistent,
not try it? There has to be a really good reason.
I just like the future we're building. I like the slowly we're building, getting good pieces, and then maybe in 5-6 years down the line we get a superstar. And now around that superstar, we have.
Could you imagine if we had a
Kuminga,
superstar
we have
right here?
But right now we just
You're exactly, Hassan. Do you understand like how crazy that is?
I just don't think the pieces right now, even with Siakam, would be enough to win a chip. I just don't see it. But I think in 5-6 years, it's a chance. But at the end of the day, everything's a chance.
How could you ever replicate the value that having Steph on your roster brings to
I agree. We can never get Steph again, but we could get a player of a caliber like for example, Kawhi Leonard. For example, like 20.
Oh yeah, those guys are just floating around.
In 5-6 years, with a core of like Kuminga, Pods, Moody,
Two guys
Trace.
who are at this point three role players, and one guy who made
Moody's gonna be a role player. I'm sorry.
Have
a
At best, he's a high level role player. Moody's not becoming a star. Moody.
Yeah, I agree. High level role player. He could be like a. He could be like a
Iguodala.
Spurs 2014, like a good piece to a San Antonio Spurs type team in
Sure.
2014 type
Yeah.
vibe.
Yeah.
And that's what you need to win chips, though. That's what I'm trying to say. You need strength in numbers. That's the type of vibe. I've always felt more comfortable with that type of vibe.
Okay, by the way, Wiggins, it is in his current ability level, is basically that type of player. So
What?
like that type of like high level role player. That's what he's become instead of a star.
That's crazy. Oh.
But again,
But he was supposed to be a star.
Okay, but we have that guy on our roster. You're saying that's what we need. Okay, there he is. He's there. Wiggins.
No, we need a star.
No. You just said you need a high level role player on your roster. You need that type of guy.
No, I'm saying you need those type of guys, but that's not supposed to be Wiggins' role.
It's not supposed to be, but it is.
So
you
that's the exact problem.
So you need two
Here's
stars,
what
right?
I'm saying. If
So you
Clay,
need two
Clay
stars,
was
right?
consistent, Clay was consistently playing decent, playing his role consistently. Steph is Steph. Dre is Dre.
I feel like Draymond. I don't want to punch you.
Siakam on our roster, I would be confident with that roster.
You see,
I just don't. It's Steph, Dre, and Siakam. And Dre
Steph,
not-
Clay, Dre, Siakam, and then off the bench,
Clay is not
Wiggins.
consistent enough.
Kind of
But
is.
Of
Bro,
course,
it's-
32 games in the season, and his stats are already getting close to what they were when
and he's only getting better.
the chip in 2022.
He's had 3 good games, guys.
He had like another stretch of
We're-
5 good games.
We're running.
Where he was averaging like 19 points on above
It
average
is
shooting.
true. It is true. Okay, then. Okay, I have a
So
question.
also,
I have a question. This could change my answer. Do you guys think Clay will return to his form of like 2022? Based off, like you said, the last maybe 10
I'm kind of traumatized after the 23 playoffs. I'm not gonna lie.
I am.
That was
No,
terrible.
it'll be like 10% worse than that.
Okay. And do you think that 10%, okay, whatever the decrease is, it's X
Siakam is
decrease.
if we're
Adding
that
Siakam.
is like 50%, like whatever we lost from Clay.
So do you think? Siakam
as a player brings 5 times?
Here's what it boils down to ultimately. Do you think, and Wes as well, Steph, Clay, which a decreased version of Clay, whatever percentage is decreased, perhaps GP2, Siakam, and Dre.
What about Wiggins?
Wiggins is off the bench and he's trash.
But we're talking about, you were just talking about how valuable high-level role players are. That's what he profiles as right now. You can't have it both ways.
So, but here's the problem. Again, this goes back to my point about the 2022 when our run.
No, it doesn't.
Our win. Yeah, it does, because we had Steph, JP, Clay, Wiggins, Dre, all playing at a high level.
Okay.
Currently, in this roster, we have 4 players playing at a high level.
Steph, Clay, Dre, Wiggins.
No, not Wiggins this season.
Yeah, not a high level. But he's talking about if we traded for. You're talking about if we traded.
If we traded for Siakam, and by the way, lose a good piece in Kuminga, which is that depth. By the way,
An I8 piece.
No. I
Because
think
his value is totally like what he can be. It's not like what he is now.
so a third-year player.
Yeah.
So it's like
That's what we're talking about right now. Like, what is?
I think he's a good role player, which is what we need. So we're gonna lose a role player for a worse role player in Wiggins.
I mean, well,
And
not
again,
much.
we have
like we
full-
said, Wiggins is not substantially worse.
I mean, but it's still worse, right? So we're still missing one high-level
I just
player.
don't think you understand how good Siakam is. I just don't think you're processing it, or you're not adding.
I am, but again, what I'm trying to say is we have 4 high-level.
And also Saric, by the way.
But again, he's a role player. He's not a high-level player.
Past 2019, the Pascal Siakam that we saw in the playoffs in 2019 would have been the second best player on the 2022 Warriors. He would have been equal to or better than Wiggins was in that final series. If he
Agreed.
played, now obviously we're talking about hypotheticals. That's insanely valuable.
I agree.
Okay, also Saric. I think Saric
But again,
has
you're talking
proven
about
that
the
he's a high-level
2022
role player.
Warriors. You're talking about this Warriors. We would have had 6 high-level players. Right now, we only have 4. We're missing still 1. That is my whole entire what it all boils down to.
So also, there's not like a formula. Like,
you're
what are the 5 high-level
In
role players for? What are the 5 high-level players for Milwaukee?
It doesn't matter.
Giannis, Dame.
Our 2022 core is the same, so we have to compare to 2022.
No, we don't. We have to compare to the other teams in the league that we're competing with.
That's not true. We have to compare to 2022 ourselves with 2022.
No, we don't.
In 2022,
20
It's going to be 2024 when we win the chip.
Stop
Chip with 5
Stop saying the same.
high level players.
We're trying to have an actual discussion. You've said the same thing 100 times. We're trying to have an actual discussion. Compare it to other teams that are contending. What are their strengths and their weaknesses, and how would they compare to a version of the Warriors?
Exactly, and Hassan, even like 2021, the
It's
Bucks
not
had.
Would you guys say the competition is harder or easier than
What
2020?
would you say?
I would say it's harder.
You would.
Yeah, I think it's more competitive than 2022.
You
would.
think Denver got more competitive in 2022?
Well, let's say the Celtics. They would.
They're about the same. Celtics are about the same.
I mean,
No, Celtics are better now. Celtics
they are better. I don't have faith in the Celtics.
The Nuggets are better. The Bucks are also better. The Philadelphia 76ers are better. The Clippers are better. The Warriors are so again. I mean, do you guys kind of get what I'm saying?
Again, that's not actually.
It's gotten more competitive.
That's
and
not
we've gotten
a
worse.
comparison. That's not analyzing how we would beat them or lose to them.
Okay, sure. Let's do that then.
So let's think about it. What are the Warriors' main
Let's do-
strengths right now, and main weaknesses?
Sure. Our main strengths are Steph is Steph.
But shooting, ball handling, attacking the rim, perimeter defense, interior defense, stuff like that.
I think our biggest problem is we're just not clutch. We cannot close out games.
Okay, well
We cannot close out games. Our
I mean,
third.
that is a thing.
it's a real problem, but like it's not talking about like an area of strength on the court that you could address through acquiring players or making moves or something.
Okay, sure. You go ahead. You could.
Okay, well here's my assessment of our biggest problems right now. We don't have a secondary scorer / playmaker who can take advantage of the chaos that is caused by Steph and Clay moving off ball, which has always been the best strength of our offense.
Yeah.
It's the way that opens up the interior for everybody else.
I think another point we have.
Who might provide a strong interior finishing presence with the requisite athleticism and talent.
Because that's the thing we're missing with Wiggins. He's not the same like attacker of the rim.
Siakam.
I agree.
I'm describing.
I
that's
also think
every-
another problem is
we
we
have.
don't have enough depth. We don't have enough pieces.
We have Gertman. Do we have pause?
Yeah. Also, in the playoffs,
rotation
it's like a shortened rotation. So
It's like
I don't think
9
that's.
See again. I see. I keep on going back to this point because it's not. It really is clear to me that the competition has gotten harder, and in 2022 we had 5 top level players. Like I said, we had Curry, Clay, Dre. We had Wiggins and JP. Not to mention we had Otto Porter, but then Saric, solid. We still had GP2. And who else was playing really well for us off the bench? I'm trying to think.
I mean, Looney. Kind of forgot about Looney actually.
Looney, by the way, Looney has regressed a little.
Looney hasn't factored into our discussion at all. So
Looney has regressed as well this season. His field goal percentage has dropped 6%. His rebounding has also dropped a little bit as well. He's a lot more unathletic. He's always had knee problems. So again, now not only are we kind of an overall worse version of 2022, it's gotten more competitive. And with Siakam, we have 4 top level players versus our 5, which we had in 2022, when the competition was easier and our role players were better. Our role players then are better than now. Our role players right now are Moody, Kuminga, Pods. Versus then,
Sarge.
GP2 Sarge,
GP.
true. But then we had GP2, we had Otto Porter, we had
Bielitsa,
Bielitsa, which was a solid piece. He didn't have insane minutes, but he was still a veteran, kind of a presence. You know, I liked him with the ball at times. We had
I mean, honestly, I'd take Sarge over Otto Porter, though, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, Otto Porter was great. I'm not going to, like, downgrade him, but I'd still take Sarge over him.
Yeah, the thing is that I guess we won't know until the playoffs, because Otto Porter is big for us in the playoffs.
Also, the version of Pods that we're seeing is probably better than most of those guys that you're listing. Again, only over the last 2.
Sure. Okay, so then, I'll concede that point. Let's say our role players are better. But again, it goes back to the main thing. We have 4 top level players versus 5, and it's gotten more competitive. And this is, by the way, with the benefit of doubt to Clay, that he continues this kind of respectable form that he's in.
But again, what is the alternative to making that move? To just sit there and watch?
I think the alternatives try to get
and hope that.
I think the alternatives try to get the best out of a trade with Wiggins and CP3.
So that would be Siakam.
To do that then. This whole decision about Kuminga, I don't want to trade Kuminga. That's my whole problem.
But that's not what you've been talking about. You've been talking about how we don't have a shot to win anyways. About how it's just the league is too competitive and we don't have enough high-level players. Why would that make a difference?
If we were to trade Kuminga and CP3, I don't think it's worth trading Kuminga and CP3, because I think the chance of Siakam coming to our team is not high enough to kind of sell me on winning a chip this season. That's my point. But if we were able to get rid of Wiggins and CP3...
Not the chance, right? The pass to Siakam doesn't give us enough of a chance to win a chip.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right, I meant that. So that's my point. If we were to do Wiggins and CP3, I'd do it in a heartbeat. Because guess what? We are still trying to win a chip this year. We don't also jeopardize... Jeopardize is maybe an extreme word, but we don't really... take a hit on our future.
But what... I guess we'd attach picks. I was about to say, why would the Raptors do that? But we would attach picks to give them some value. But again, neither CP3 nor Wiggins are that appealing of players that
which is a very legit problem. I agree, and that's why at the end of the day, when it comes to it, to bite the bullet, if I'm a front office manager, I'm shifting into future mode now, and I get it. But again, then this comes back to my other point, because I'm an irrational fan. I think Steph, Dre, and Clay, if I was a logical, let's say I'm playing a computer simulation, I'm an AI, and I have no emotional attachment to players or a team. If by the trade deadline we can't get a good trade for Wiggins and CP3, I think it's now time to officially go into future mode. And it's horrifyingly horrible to say that, because again, Steph is like Wes, you both have been making a very good point. He's like 1 out of 4 or 5 players who could make a team win a chip. But because of all the reasons I just stated, and I don't want to repeat them all over again and whatever. If I was an AI, I would trade Steph, I would trade Clay, I would even trade Draymond, I would trade Wiggins, and I would trade CP3. And I'm going into future mode. Because I think what we have going for us right now, there is good potential in it. It's like a startup company. Majority fail, but the ones that boom, they boom. That's my take, and I agree. I get you guys' point. Honestly, I'm not even trying to be like obnoxious and just be egotistical. Like, this is my take, and I'm gonna die by it. I totally agree with what you guys are saying. It's a lose-lose situation in a way, because we're in a tough situation. Unfortunately, we're in a very difficult situation. And in these difficult situations, it just comes to, hey, what do you prioritize more? And I get you guys' point. Steph is here. Prioritize Steph. But Steph is also 35-36. I think...
So just go into future mode after he retires in 2 years.
But then the value of everyone goes down.
No, it doesn't. What do you mean?
You don't think so? In a season or two, Wiggins' value, Clay's value, Steph's value, Dre's value doesn't go worse than what it is.
Well, Clay's on an expiring contract, so we don't even have to give him a contract next year.
Sure.
Draymond's locked in, and again, this.
But
The-
Dre's
the
value
logic-
is still pretty solid because
logic
he's
only
still a
goes-
very good
logic
player.
goes both ways. If they're going to be declining, their contracts are going to become albatrosses anyways. So
Sure.
nobody's going to want them.
But that's what I'm saying right now. Right now,
Why
we
would
have
anybody want
value.
Wiggins right now? Wiggins doesn't have value right now.
Maybe
Wiggins can only get more value
in
for
a
himself.
package. In a package. That's what I'm trying to say. In a package.
With what?
So he doesn't
Value
bring the actual
like
value.
Kuminga, with a valuable piece like Kuminga, you don't want to give up, so it doesn't matter.
Again, I agree. But like I said, my most rational AI thinking.
I'm
brain.
saying that your thinking is not rational. That is what I'm saying. The way that you're
I
thinking about
think
it isn't rational.
I think we try to see what we can, and then by the trade deadline, we should trade. My AI take Steph, Dre,
No.
Wiggins,
I mean,
CP3.
it's
Dude,
not.
it's not, I mean, honestly, I was kind of like opposed to a Wiggins CP for Siakam trade. Like that's kind of fine. I don't know what I was thinking, but I don't know. You have to factor in that like a guy like Steph like just doesn't come. I'd rather just go down with the ship honestly than
And that's what I'm saying.
ever,
And
like,
that
trade him and then think about like, oh, what if we made the trade and then
I agree. I think it's just a perspective difference. You guys would rather go down swinging. I'm a much more conservative thinker in these things where I would like to play it safe. I'm a less risk type of guy, and this is for everything. This is for everything.
but then you never know like, oh, if we made
I
that trade
agree,
for
I agree, but
Siakam and then
I
and then we win it.
No value. Okay, in the NBA, there's no
Let me put it
value.
this way.
in the
I'm the type of guy-
conservative approach. Because
I disagree.
because there's
I
only
disagree.
one team out of 30 that succeeds every year.
But that's what I'm saying.
So you have to go
It's,
for bust.
I play chess. That's what I'm trying to say. I play chess.
Chess, if you're fifth every year, in the long run, you're quote unquote, you're doing better than a team who wins once and is bad the rest of the years. But that's not how the NBA functions. The NBA is winner take all. It's a zero-sum game. You either win it or you don't, and 29 teams don't.
I just again, like
So
I'm
the
saying,
only thing you can ever prioritize.
I would put more stock into our future being brighter than trading Kuminga and CP for Siakam. That is
That
basically
maybe
what
I
my
could
whole
sympathize with, even if I don't agree.
That is basically
The
my
idea
whole
that we
thing.
should trade Steph in any form, in any capacity.
Like I said, I
is
think it's
wrong.
logical, and will it ever
it's
happen? No.
wrong.
But
It's not
that's
logical.
what I honestly think. I think
You actually
Bro,
said
I mean, it's not. I just think you don't understand
yeah,
like,
in
the
my
goal.
AI, if I'm in a full AI mode, no emotion, no connection to any of these players, I do. If by the trade deadline we can't figure something out and we're playing like this, inconsistent trash, it's time to trade players at their highest value and really just go in full rebuild. That's what I honestly think. And I get your guys' point fully, but it's just a difference in perspective. It's just a difference in perspective. I think it's future mode now.
I mean, I feel like you just don't understand that the goal of the NBA is to win championships, and when you have a
I
chance to
think our
do it,
future
you
has a
go all
higher
in.
chance of winning a ring than our current state.
well, that's not true.
Yeah, that's definitely not true. Bro.
I,
It's just not true. So
that's what I think. I honestly really do.
The delusion, holy cow!
I mean,
I agree. It's definitely I guess unorthodox because
I mean, being wrong could be unorthodox, but you're also wrong.
yeah, I could definitely be wrong. I agree. 99.9% people would probably say I'm wrong, but I guess that's the beauty of having an opinion and having your own take. You could be outright wrong. Maybe in 2 years, let's say we trade for Kuminga and CP for Siakam, and then we end up winning 2 chips. That could be wrong. Hey, we end up winning this chip. I have no shame in saying, hey, I was wrong. I have no problem with that. But this is my take. I would be disingenuous with myself if I wouldn't say what I think and think what I say.
All right. Well,
What other topics do we have in mind? Clay doing what we kind of.
I mean, I think in the course of that discussion, we covered so much ground that we were planning on.
Yeah, I really like that discussion. It was a really, really good discussion. I think yeah, it's an interesting. We're on a 2-game win streak. Shout out the Warriors. But one thing we didn't also highlight a little bit is Curry has been struggling a little bit last couple of games.
And in his place, Clay and Wiggins have kind of been saving the ship. The gems
Yeah,
as well.
luckily we did beat the Nets and the Trailblazers.
Yeah, I mean the Nets are legit. I don't know what that slight was, but okay.
Okay, but like coming the Trailblazers, where
Yeah,
an offensive foul saved us from losing that game.
you mean
I
offensive
think,
foul. Offensive foul.
We managed to.
That's what I said.
we
You said
managed.
defensive.
No, I said offensive.
We managed to win Steph Curry's worst game in like 10 years.
Not to mention exactly, Curry
Yes.
did end his streak since 2018.
That is-
hitting a 3 every game.
That is an accomplishment, no matter who we do it against.
I agree. I just think there's a lot of chaos in the Warriors franchise, and it's really unfortunate. It really is. But I guess we shall see. Only one way to find out what goes on. Season will end one way or another. There will be a champ one way or another. We shall see what happens.
Yes, sir.
Take care.